Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here's your host, Terry Fletcher.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WTF Steel City Underground podcast. My name is Terry Fletcher. Yes, WTF talks about and discusses what the football around the league. So I'm going to start with the positives because I'm sure you've seen either on social media or with Brian and Joe some of the negatives, and I'm deciding to go with the positives today to start. So what the football? Well, 3 games in, Deontay Johnson, 23 catches, 233 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 drops. So that's somebody who has a learning curve. Wish I could say the same for OC Canada. Oh, did I actually get negative? Sorry. Let me move on back to the positive. So in the opening drive, we had a touchdown breaking our scoreless streak, but it also made Ben the number 8 all-time with 400 career touchdowns. And he also passed Dan Marino in this game as the 6th all-time for passing yards. Okay, that's all the positives. Now let me get into what the football in the game. Well, first of all, I don't know where you were in the country, but I'm in California. And so in California, we were the national game, as was 90% of the country. Well, CBS had us miss the entire first quarter of the national game, the Steelers-Green Bay game, to finish the Jets-Titans game that nobody gives a rat's ass about. They went into overtime. Neither team could score except the Jets had a field goal, and at the end, the Titans missed a field goal, so it ended 27-24. Again, nobody cared about it. We even tried to go back to the Red Zone channel to see if we could catch a clip of the Steelers game, and no such luck. All they wanted to play was the Jets game in overtime. And somebody who has Sunday ticket, because it was a national game, that was blacked out. So yeah, I'm a little perturbed, and CBS heard a lot from fans and everybody. And that's what got us to our 27-17 loss, and it was another mess, unfortunately. We are now 1-3 on the season, but not all's lost. But you know, the thing that really drives me crazy, and you hear me talk about refs all the time, and I'm not making excuses. I'm not. Ben is missing some throws. Juju, Mr. Reliable, had a drop in the end zone, missed another pass that he always gets. He muscles through those catches, and he took full responsibility, spent 6 minutes in the after press conference of the game, talking to the press, listening to stupid questions. How frustrated are you about that? What's he going to say? Oh, I'm not frustrated at all. I could give a rat's butt. But no, he basically went in and said, I always make those catches. I'm very frustrated. All I can do is learn from it and move on. And that's really all you could do. But for anybody that watched the game, we had a blocked punt. We had blocked field goal, and we were not offsides. And Joe Hayden brilliantly came off the line, just like we used to see Troy Polamalu do, and blocked the field goal. And Minka Fitzpatrick, our defensive back, picked it up and scored a touchdown. And we're screaming. We're standing up going, oh my gosh, momentum change. Go, go, go. He gets it. He then gets the touchdown. After the touchdown, then we see a yellow flag come in. After. Listen to that. After. And it says offsides. Because apparently you could not have been that perfect unless you were offsides. So this goes back, and of course, Tony Romo's doing the game. Just kill me now. And he's basically saying, well, it had to be offsides because you just can't be that perfect. Well, they played this over and over and over again. They called in their ref that's on TV now. He used to be an NFL ref, actually one of my favorites, Gene Steratore. And he said he agreed. He even played the video on Twitter and put it on his account and said that was such perfect timing. That was not offsides. The ball was snapped. He moved with the ball, and that's when Joe came off the line. That was a 10-point swing. A touchdown for us was taken off the board, and they got a field goal out of it. So when you see those kinds of things, a 10-point swing, and you see that we basically lost by 10 points, and the momentum changes, You have to just go, you have got to be kidding me, or at least what the football. I mean, I'm so tired of the refs coming out and changing the game. They're costing people's jobs. They're having Ben go out there and say, it was on me, and Juju, it was on me, and everybody, Tomlin, we have to, make these plays. Well, if you go back and look, we are making those plays. TJ Watt out there, our defense looks so much better with him on the field this week. And he's up there going, we've got to get better. You guys are getting better. You're just getting hosed by the referees. So that's all I'm going to say. Now, if the penalties in the offensive line were a little less, that would be really helpful. We did have a drop interception, and I know he wishes he could get that back by Melvin Ingram, but he knocked it down. So you have to look at the positive on that. Juju definitely needed to be better in grabbing that. And I'm not sure what happened there because he's always Mr. Reliable. That is Ben. Those are Ben's words. And then the biggest problem we have right now, if you want me to just put it out there, most of you are thinking this, but this is where our problem is. And I'm going to go back to offensive coordinator Canada. I just think the Canada's experiment just needs to stop. It's kind of like Justin Bieber. We're over Canada right now. When you are going for it on fourth down, throwing behind the line of scrimmage or throwing a swing pass behind you, that is not forward motion. Why are we doing that? Have we not learned a lesson? So what do they keep saying about insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. Let's stop doing this. What the football? Come on. So it doesn't take a brain surgeon to do that. Do you think I've played football? No. Do you think I've studied football over the last 25 years? Yes. Why do you think I get to have a podcast? Because I know football. And that's not even something you have to be a football fan or a football player or football anything to know that you don't do that. Deontay Johnson, who's been brilliant, and also James Washington, don't run backwards. Run forward. Stretch out for those extra yards. If there was anything there that Deontay Johnson needs to do is stretch forward. He likes to run back thinking he can scramble. And when you've got 1, 2, then 3 guys coming up to you, don't do that. That is not going anywhere. And so that is definitely an issue. And then the last on the football game for the Steelers, I'll say, is did anybody notice an exchange when I think we had 2 men on the field? And one of the things that Aaron Rodgers is really good about doing is he is good about hurry up offense. And when he sees there's a mistake on the defensive side or they're scrambling or anything, or possibly 2 men on the field, he will hurry up to get a free play in. Well, Mike Tomlin's like, not so fast, because before they could call it, we called timeout. Well, they had an exchange between each other where they showed it on TV, where Aaron looked at Mike looked at him, and they were both smiling like, yeah, I got you. And yeah, you could try. So just keep that in mind for what could come up later on in life, because I know a lot of people keep saying we're going to see Aaron Rodgers in a Steelers uniform next year. First of all, he's only 2 years younger than Ben. Does he have a better offensive line than Ben? Yes, he does. So he's going to look better than Ben because he can get the ball out a little bit later. But Ben is aging the way a 39-year-old ages. Nobody is Tom Brady. And I can almost guarantee you this will be his last year, if not for frustration on his part. But the fact that these guys, we have so many new starters. We don't have a veteran line. And Ben's getting killed out there. Was it better than last week? 4 sacks versus 2 sacks? Yes. I mean, we had 2 sacks this time, but it's just, he's having to make such quick decisions where he can't go to his 3rd and 4th read because he doesn't have protection. So again, keep that in mind when you're thinking about these games. So another what the football, well, Browns won, Cincy won, and Baltimore won. Of course they did. And that's all they're going to talk about this week. So for those of you that don't want to be nauseated for the rest of the week, because they're all 3-1, you may want to sit this one out. Remember, we won our division last year at 12-5, which means we had 5 losses. And we had 3 in a row, actually, at the end. So it's not all is lost. We could go 9-8. And with the new rules on this, with the prolonged season, and still make the playoffs. So just remember, we're just trying to figure things out. Now, if we don't figure them out soon, you are correct for what you're thinking. We're not going anywhere. Right now, I would like to make sure we don't have a losing season. So that's kind of where I'm at. Super Bowl, let's just put that on hold for a second. But I would like to at least have a winning season and then hope to make maybe a wild card team or a playoff. But we're only playing 4 games. We're 4 games in. There's a lot of football left. So let's take a look at one of the things that is a definitely head scratcher for a WTF, and that is from Pro Football Focus, which I don't always like what they put out there, but they do put out some stats. Chris Collinsworth actually owns this company, but the fewest yards per attempt at a pass this season, Ben, 6 yards, 6.08 yards actually, 6.15 yards for Trevor Lawrence, and then 6.23 for Matt Ryan. They've got to get Ben to throw the ball. What happened when he did in the first quarter that we didn't get to see except on replay, by the way? That's always going to sting. That's history. And CBS is like, oh no, you guys would rather watch the Jets in overtime. Oh my gosh. Anyway, when Ben lets it go, Ben gets the ball to where it needs to go. So let him throw the ball, for crying out loud. Geez, I'm a little salty today. Now let's go back to what is happening around the league. So here's kind of an interesting one. So the Jags played, and they're still 0-4. But coach, and I'm just going to call him college coach, he's not really grabbing it yet as far as being a NFL head coach. But Urban Meyer, he had a video of him apparently dancing on a dance floor party. He had to apologize to his team for quote unquote being a distraction. He said, well, they pulled me on the dance floor. Oh my goodness. The Bills blew out the Texans 40-0. Now they're playing the Texans, but everybody wants to anoint the Bills the next Super Bowl team. It's interesting. Remember last year, when the Steelers went 11-0 and everybody said, oh, they're the worst undefeated team ever. Yeah, we can't win. Even at 8-0, they're like, oh, good for them. And now that we're 1-3, they're like, see, told you they're a terrible team. If you lose and you're a Steeler fan, you win, you're a Steeler fan, nobody likes you. So I don't know if it's jealousy, just professional jealousy, because we haven't had a losing season in almost 20 years. I don't know what it is, but we'll see what happens as we move forward. But then you get into these teams that win, and you have to look at the margin that they win. Not everything is a blowout. Yes, the Bills blew out the Texans because they are terrible right now, 40-0. But if you look at, for example, the Chiefs game, Patrick Mahomes threw 5 touchdowns. Yes, they won, but they won 42-30. So what does that mean? Yeah, they threw a 40-burger up there, but they had 30 points scored against them. How do I know that? Because I have them in fantasy as a defense, and they scored me 2 points. Yeah, you're not that kind of caliber team if your quarterback has to go out to win the game and throw 4 to 5 touchdowns every single game. One thing about that game was really funny. Go back and watch a clip. There was an attempt at, I think it was a trick play. I'm not sure what was going on there, but there was a pass forward, then a pass backward, then a pass laterally. And then they try to throw it again, kind of the lateral. You know how when they have made very little time and they're like passing it back and forth to try to get to the end zone, and it rarely happens, like once in a million times. Then they try to pass it, and who do they pass it to? The ref, and it hit him in the head. So that was a fun what the football moment. But yeah, that was just weird. But who would be sitting here right now where we have one more game to play, Monday Night Football, which I'll cover next week. The Raiders are 3-0. The Cardinals are 4-0. They're the 2 last undefeated teams. Nobody would have said that as walking into the season this year. Maybe the Cardinals, because they actually have a pretty decent team, but the Raiders, I don't think so. So we'll see what happens when they play the Chargers tonight. And then Tom Brady, we have to mention him. He returned to the Patriots because everybody was talking about it all week. He even had his team of videographers do a tribute on his Twitter feed. And he won, but he won by a very small margin, only 2 points. And he does return and because they also missed a field goal, so then that's what sealed the win for them. But he returned to New England. He now is the all-time passing leader. He did get a win, even though it was an ugly win. And he now has beaten all 32 teams. So shout out to him. Good for him. I mean, as a Steeler fan, no, I didn't like him when he was in New England. But you just can't, not everybody's Tom Brady. And that's why when anybody says, well, Ben isn't Tom Brady. No, he isn't. Who is Tom Brady? Phillip Rivers retired. Eli Manning retired a couple of years ago. Drew Brees retired. All these guys have retired, and they may be Hall of Fame quarterbacks, but Ben is a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's in his last year. So let's cut him some slack. Let's give him the respect he deserves. Stop asking for Mason Rudolph to go in. I'm tired of seeing that. If you're a true Steeler fan, you will ride with this team until the end and give Ben the respect he deserves through the end of this season. Well, hopefully you will. That's what we need to do. And so here we're sitting. We're 1-3. let's hope it gets better as we continue to move forward. And our next game is the Broncos at home. So let's hope we can get something done there. We have a quarterback that may or may not be playing, in Winston. He's been a little bit hurt, but I think we have a really good shot there, especially with our defensive players back and hopefully going in with a plan. You guys know at some point, Ben's going to say, look, I'm going to take this over. He's got to, because he does not want to go out this way. We don't want him to go out this way. And I know that they are starved for a win. So just stay tuned. Hopefully it'll turn the ship around at least to a point where we can feel like we're still in this. And let's try and be as positive as possible. All right, everyone, make it a great day, a great week. And thank you for listening to the Steel City Underground WTF podcast.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.